What's up, family? Marquise James Mayo Sr. here, the I'm Just Saying news desk. Probably wondering, why the hell is he wearing that mask? Let me explain. To those of you who either don't know or don't pay attention, haven't paid attention, this mask is from V for Vendetta, Guy Fawkes mask. And those of you who have seen that movie know what that movie is about. And this mask has been kind of made famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, in recent years because of the activist group Anonymous. The members of the group wear this mask as a way of, shielding their identities. Now, I'm not a member of Anonymous, but this mask to me means more than that. It means change. It means revolution. It means not accepting things for the way they are and acting to make things better. And that's why I wear it. And that's why I will continue to wear it. Obviously, I won't wear it in every video, but this particular video is a little bit different than the ones I've been doing recently. As you know, every year the president does the State of the Union address. Well, tonight is my State of the Union address. And to quote how he usually starts the speech, they say the State of the Union is good or great or strong. Well, in my humble opinion, the State of the Union is wretched. It's horrible. Sucks. There's plenty of other words I can choose to use, but I'm pretty sure you can figure it out. This country for a very long time has been suffering at the hands of its own people. And why do I say that? We have a representative government, meaning we elect the people who we choose to represent us in our government. And in a perfect world, in a perfect democracy, when we elect our officials, they go to the state capitals, they go to DC, and they put forth legislation that progresses the country, moves the country forward. As we have seen in recent memory, that doesn't seem to happen anymore with our government. It's all about obstruction and doing the complete opposite of what we elected them to do, what they're paid to do from our tax money. So, those of you who see me on Facebook, see my posts, you see me talk about change and revolution. There has to come a time when we realize that doing this over and over and over again is going to continue to yield the same result. I believe it was the great Albert Einstein who said, and I'm paraphrasing, doing something over and over again the same way and expecting the same result is insanity, or the definition of insanity. Does that mean that we are an insane nation? Sometimes it looks that way. We keep electing these people who say they're going to represent us, say they're going to do what's right for the country, not what's right for themselves or for people who may believe the same way they believe, what's right for the country. And it is quite evident that that is not the case anymore with our elected officials, with a lot of them. I mean, there are men and women out there who fight the good fight, so to speak. I believe that in 2015, in this day and age, they may now be in the minority when it comes to officials on a local, state, and federal level. Um, and it and the reason why I can say that is look at the direction our country is headed in. You know, one of the biggest issues we face right now is police brutality. Let's talk about that for a second. There are people who can look at evidence of clear cut police brutality, whether it's has gone, it became physical, or if it was, just a violation of that person's, that victim's, let's call it what it is. People who suffer police brutality are victims. They are victims of bullies. People can look at that evidence, mounting evidence, and say, oh, the police were 100% right. They had a right to do what they did, even if they know that that's not the truth. That's where we are in this country right now. That the little guy, which represents, the majority of this country is a little guy. And when I say that, I'm going to pull up a number for you here, and you tell me, who the little guy is. As of 2014, the wealthiest 160,000 families own as much wealth as the poorest 145 million families. That is my definition of the little guy. And the little guy, in a lot of cases, sides with the bullies. It sides with the rich and the elite who continue to put them down. Some I could never understand. I still don't understand. I don't think I ever will, because it goes like when people go to vote, instead of voting their interest and voting for what is going to make their lives better, voting for somebody who is going to enact change and enact legislature that's going to make their lives better, they vote for somebody who, believes in the same religion that they do, or the whole thing with Bush is like, that's a president I'd like to have a drink with. Well, he was also a horrible president. So there's a lot of people though who I've had drinks with who are horrible people. So, common sense is supposed to kick in at some point, and for a lot of the little guys out there, it doesn't. But that's the plan. See, what a lot of people don't understand is that's the plan. The plan is to keep the little guy divided and separated. Because as long as you have sheep being sheep, then the wolves, they can eat to their heart's content. There's nobody that's going to stop them. Because the worst sheep, the worst of the group are the sheep who basically give up the other sheep to the wolves. They just kind of, just give them up for the sake of staying sheep. And there are a lot of sheep in this country. There's a lot of, sheeple. There's a lot of sheeple in this country. And it's at the point now where we have to get past that phase of America, the sheep and the wolves. It is time for people to put aside everything, and I do mean everything. Let me take this off for a second. I want y'all to see my face and look directly into my eyes when I tell y'all this. Everything that separates and divides us, whether it's race, because race is nothing but a construct of man. We all originated from the same place in this world. And then as time went on and mankind evolved and mankind spread it out, race was concocted, was invented by man as a way of separating. And it's still going on today. So whether it's race or religion, which I've said on online and on my posts, and I will say it now, the biggest con job man has ever played on himself is to institute religion, and that con is still going on today. No matter whether it's race, religion, economic status, no matter what it is, we need to, all the people who are in the same boat together, which is the vast majority of this country, need to put all that stuff aside. Realize that that has done nothing but keep us in a position that the powers that be, if you will, want us to be in. Put all that stuff to the side, put it in the past, stop it, let it go, and we determine the fate and the future of our country. Not a bunch of, not, I see them say a bunch, a few people with a crap load of money who wants to decide everything was going on. We should be able to decide our future. And until we can put aside the petty dumb stuff and the stuff that don't even matter, then we will always be in a position of sheep. And I'm not even saying that we should become the wolves. What I'm saying is that whole mindset just needs to go. I am a true believer in equality across the board. No one person should ever be able to look down their nose at anybody else. I don't care how much money you have, how much money they don't have. I don't care if you have a family, they don't have a family, you're married, they're single, whatever. You know, you're black, they're white. That none of that matters. All that stuff is creations of man to create division. We're all human beings, part of the same race. We should all be equal across the board. The problem is, with all of these social constructs that divides everybody, that equality that a lot of us have been yearning for hundreds of years in this country can never come to be. We won't see it. And the sad part is that there are people in the boat with us who don't care. They don't care. They don't pay enough attention. They're so kind of caught up in the pettiness of a lot of the distractions that go on in the world. They're so caught up in that stuff that they can't pull the wool off of their own eyes and see what's really going on. You know what I mean? You have to know what is a distraction and what is real. You have to know like what is put out there to keep your mind off of like real serious issues and what is actually a real serious issue. And you know, between police brutality, wealth inequality, corrupt politicians, you know, corrupt government, period, you know, healthcare system that even with the institution, even with the Affordable Health Care Act being brought into play, even though that was a victory of sorts for better health care, it still didn't go far enough. And it wasn't allowed to go far enough because there were people fighting against it. Not just the politicians who already are in the back pockets of millionaires and billionaires, but everyday people who need better insurance, who need better coverage, who are fighting against it. And that, you know, as long as that kind of stuff happens, we can never progress and overcome. You know, you feel what I'm saying? So, you know, police brutality, corrupt governments, wealth inequality, a healthcare system that is subpar compared to the rest of the world, even though we're the richest nation in the world. The healthcare system, and probably the worst thing to me that we suffer from in this country, the biggest issue, and it's something I've talked about in a lot of videos, is our education system, our public education system. It's for America to be the most developed nation on the planet, and our education to be not where it should be, like at the top, is a shame. And it's just, you know, I don't understand how we as a population allowed it to happen, how we as a people allowed that to happen. You know, the politicians and the millionaires and all that, the billionaires, they have been allowed to dictate our education. What's taught, what's not taught, you know, what schools are going to be built where, what schools are going to be taken down, blah, blah, blah. They've been the ones that almost determine that. And the problem is, they're determining the public education system by their decisions and all that stuff. Their children are in, you know, bougie, uppity, ritzy private schools. They don't have to worry about what our children have to worry about in the public education system. So, and there was something else I forgot to mention, and is one of the biggest businesses in America, and is probably the cause for a lot of the destruction of neighborhoods and families across this country, is the prison industrial complex. And for those of you who think that's just a conspiracy, it's time for y'all to wake the hell up. There's a reason why the United States has the largest prison population in the world. There's a reason behind that. It's not because we're the worst country in the world when it comes to criminals. We have that many criminals of that caliber. No, that's not it. So people need to wake up and stop watching just what you see on TV or hear on Fox News or MSNBC. You need to go out and do some research and find out what's really going on in the world. And I just mentioned Fox and MSNBC, and I'm going to tell you all why I say that. There are 6 corporations that control 90% of the media in America. In the 50s, in 1983, there were 50 companies. So that's GE, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS. Those 6 companies own 90% of the media in America. That is why I tell you, you know, you just can't trust what you see on TV, what you see on the news. You have to go out and do your own fact checking and find out what's really going on in the world, what's really going on in our country. So, you know, I'm going to end the video the way I end all my videos. Is I'm going to tell y'all 2 things. Wake up and stay woke. It's time for a change. And that change has to start with us. You guys have a good evening. Marquise Mayo Sr. here signing off for I'm Just Saying News.